Hello? We are conducting a census of this island. Could you please state the number of persons living here? Hello? Let me open up the store. What? Welcome back to BetaWorld. That first leg of the census didn't do too well, but I figured we should try and take count of all the blocks and others on this island. Here is my collection of all the blocks on this island. I call it Block Hall. We're going to go one by one through Block Hall and take a look at each of these blocks and what they do. But without further ado, let's begin. A fun fact about our first block, dirt, is that when placed next to grass, it will eventually grow. What I mean by grow is the grass will grow on the dirt, and the dirt will be converted into grass. Just like that. Dirt's tool is also a shovel. Same as grass. The only way to obtain cobblestone is by mining regular stone. Both cobblestone and regular stone's tool is a pickaxe. Fun fact, stone is actually the most abundant block in the world. The log generates in trees that have trunks 4 to 6 blocks tall. Each log will drop anywhere from 3 to 5 planks. When gravel and sand are placed, they will float like any other block, but once a block is placed next to it, they will all fall to the ground. Its fastest tool, breaking, is the shovel. With a setup like this, containing many of the blocks we'll see later, one can go into this hole, place 2 gravel up here, and then break this sponge to release the gravel onto the player, provide an easy exit up, and provide an X-ray effect, being able to see all of the caves. Look at that. The slab is the only irregular collision block. It can be stepped up, and it is actually half a block. This does bug out the block breaking animation, where it only shows half of it on the half sides. But otherwise, this block is actually surprisingly not that buggy. It can be broken with a pickaxe and made into a double slab, which for some reason only drops 1 slab item. The red flower, yellow flower, brown mushroom, and red mushroom have no restriction on where they can be placed. Although if they are placed in an invalid spot, they will disappear after a no amount of time. Invalid spot also does include underwater, where they create little pockets of air that the player can actually breathe in. This is coal ore. When broken, it drops slabs. This, like all the other ores, generate replacing stone anywhere where stone generates. This is iron ore. Mining it drops iron blocks. And finally for the ores, this is gold ore. Mining it drops gold block. Fun fact, these two are actually palette swaps of each other and have different textures on each of their faces. Their tool is a pickaxe, although mine's a bit slow. These are bricks, and the textures are misaligned. As you can see, there is a white section over here, and there isn't one over here lining up to it. And this side's even worse. The bricks don't even align properly, but the worst offender by far is this one. The white lines almost connect, but miss each other by 1 pixel. This is mossy cobblestone, and the entirety of the starting house is made out of it. How lovely. Its tool is a pickaxe. This is glass. When placed down, it is transparent. It is mined with your fist, and yes, when you are mining it, it nullifies the transparency effect by the water, so you can use it to X-ray through the water. I am in a new world to show you that when this next block, the bookshelf, is broken, it doesn't drop anything, which makes these super valuable. Sponges continuously draw up water with a 5 by 5 by 5 area. these guys have a very, very ugly texture. They don't have an associated tool, so you can just mine them with anything. For these next two blocks, I've hopped into a temporary world again. The first one is bedrock. This block is actually completely unbreakable, although when mined, it does show the first frame of the block blinking animation, for some reason. And yes, I have tried to break it, it does not work. It just, for some reason, shows that first frame. Once it's there, there's no way of removing it. Next is obsidian. Now, at first, it may seem like it is also unmineable, like bedrock, but it actually is mineable, and it takes just a very, very, very long time. However, when it is broken, you will see that it doesn't drop obsidian, it drops cobblestone for some reason, which obviously gets mined very, very fast compared to the obsidian. This version has 16 colors of cloth in it, all with a unique color. TNT, as well as having a very descriptive texture, also, when punched, will become an entity and explode. All the blocks and leaving a crater. The chest is a very interesting block. It will always face in this direction, no matter how it is placed or on which block. It doesn't have an associated tool, but most interestingly of all, it has an inventory which can hold items. Full stacks, in fact. The maximum amount of items a chest can hold is 2,673 items, counting full 99 stacks. The sapling and torch are similar to the other non-solid blocks like before. Like, you can walk right through them, they are mined instantly, and they have absolutely no restriction on where they are placed. But they also have their own little quirks. Like, for example, a sapling planted down will eventually grow into a tree. And torches emit some light. But most of all, when placed in an invalid spot, torches will never, ever go out. So, I can place floating torches all around this tree, and they will never disappear. As is a well-known fact, leaves exist, and if they're broken, they have a chance to drop saplings. For our next block, as you can see, I've trapped a little test subject in to demonstrate for us. As our next block is the infinite lava source, which infinitely spawns lava, which damages entities and sets them on fire. Like the infinite lava source, there is also an infinite water source, which does around the same thing. We can safely demonstrate some of the characteristics of these infinite sources without the risk of ruining things. For example, they can be walked on, although their respective liquids cannot. And they can also be mined instantly, which doesn't work properly. These blocks are both very, very buggy and will be removed eventually, but it's fun to play around with them for now. Although that may seem like all the blocks in this version, there are actually quite a few secret ones in the game's texture file. This is the game's main block texture file at this point in the development. As you can see, up here, there is a weird cobweb-looking texture, along with duplicates of the water and lava textures for some reason. Additionally, the block breaking animation is down here. Again, I don't really know why, but it seems to be classified as a block. This won't be the last time we'll be seeing weird oddities in the block texture file, so keep your eye out for that. That's it for blocks. But there are other things on this island also. Like items. I know items because each block in the game has an item associated with it, but there are a handful of items that are just, well, items. First of all, there are the tools. The shovel, the pickaxe, and the axe. I've already explained how they work. But there are some other ones too, like the flint and steel, which spawns fire wherever it is used. And there's a couple more in this chest also, like the bow, the arrows, and the apples. Now, the bow, when used in conjunction with arrows, will shoot the arrows out. This can be spammed as much as possible. It makes a really funny sound effect. When there are no arrows in the player's inventory, the bow does not do anything. the apple will restore 2 hearts for the player. But even that is not everything on this island. The final category of things are entities. Now, the most obvious entity on this island is, well, me. I do not know what I look like quite yet, but I do know that my name is player name, and that my attack is 100, my defense is 100, and my speed is also 100. Again, not sure what that means, but I'll go along with it. The player has 1 extra row of 9 slots on top of the chest, for a total of 36 slots, along with these 4 over here, making a real total of 40 slots. And the player can do things such as placing blocks, breaking them, and fighting things. Speaking of fighting things, you may have seen this person walking around throughout the video and last video. Well, her name is Rana. She was created by the game's current art developer to test out how models work. She can be punched several times and be killed. She can be burned, as we saw earlier, with flint and steel or with lava. Or she can be left to roam around aimlessly, just has a jump that she can use, and for some reason has no animations, making her walking around look rather odd. The final 3 entities on this island are a bit of weird cases. The first one is dropped items. These are technically entities, because they're alive for some reason, but they turn around and will despawn after around 5 minutes. Let's wait it out, shall we? And you know what, I'm not doing this. Let's move on to the next one. Shot arrows are also entities. Their momentum is preserved when breaking the block, and they have nifty animations, and can be picked back up just like items. The final entity on this island is, do you remember when we blew up that TNT and it fell after a little bit? It's because when its fuse is going down, it becomes an entity for a little bit. And that just about does it for this episode, since we've covered all the things on this island and taken a lovely census. I hope you enjoyed BetaWorld, and until next time, I'll see you later. Bye-bye!